All right, y'all, as we wind down closer and closer to the actual 10th anniversary, we will have the countdown celebration that starts from the 19th of this month, lasting all the way until the 29th when the actual anniversary characters will be dropping. So we're very close to figuring out what the 10th anniversary characters themselves are going to be. But the countdown celebration still has a lot of cool stuff incoming, including a Goku's story red zone, right? The first 3 stages at the very least. Now, if you look on your screen and just in general the video, you'll see Kauken Goku and Grade 8 Vegeta and me being like, what if they get these characters EZA? And I think a big reason for that is linked to the fact that we also know we're getting a Vegeta story red zone. Now, there's, again, Goku's story and Vegeta's story for the red zone. I think that gives a pretty strong hint that this could just very well be the anniversary theme. A lot of us were thinking Kamehameha, but since Vegeta's here, I think that it would also make a lot of sense if the theme is just revolving around Goku and Vegeta itself, which, you know, was very similar to the 7th anniversary as well, but that's more so their rivalry rather than their story. So maybe that could be a little different. Maybe that could mean fusions. Maybe it could be something else in itself regarding Goku and Vegeta, right? But if we go ahead and take a look at the Goku's story red zone that's upcoming, we're actually able to see, oh, this is the wrong one, sorry. We are actually able to see that they start from the Saiyan Saga, which makes sense in the fact that Vegeta was not around for OG Dragon Ball. And if that's going to be the case, you know, they're going through all the different sagas, I assume Vegeta will also start from the Saiyan Saga and we'll have a fight against like a Kauken Goku or something like that. And obviously Goku in this, you know, red zone doesn't show it here. It actually shows it on the JP version. But Goku in this red zone, you know, has the fights against the, or I guess it doesn't show it, whatever. There's some section, or no, the section's not up, but I think Harry Turner did show it, where we're able to see the different fights against like a Nappa, against Raditz, against Vegeta. So we're able to essentially fight against who Goku is fighting against, and I assume the same will be Vegeta. Anyways, it all starts from the Saiyan Saga. I could 100% see these two characters actually dropping during that like moment of the countdown celebration. Maybe they drop on the 7th anniversary, the 7th day of the countdown celebration. These characters will officially come out, and it could be in next week's data download, right? Because if we really go down and count down, it'll be 19th is 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Maybe they drop on the 25th. Maybe they'll drop like in between these days right here. We know that there's probably going to be a data download from the 23rd or later, just because of the fact that we still need to get the anniversary. There's usually a data download each week, I guess we could say. We do need to get the actual anniversary login bonus card, so maybe that could just be thrown in there. Actually, probably doubt it. That would be in next week's data download. They usually do have 2 data downloads in the actual anniversary week, but again, if they want to do EZAs for this countdown celebration, I think this week would be the perfect time. And, you know, what better way than the start of Goku and Vegeta's story in terms of both of them throughout Dragon Ball together. And that would be the Saiyan Saga for both of them. So I could 100% see these characters EZA, you know, just like the red zone would show. Now, I did make my own concepts for these characters. We will be talking about it, then we'll just read through the comments of what people are thinking about this, the general vibe. This actually got more replies than I thought it would, but hey, it's anniversary, so I guess that makes a lot of sense. Now we'll talk about Kauken Goku first. Again, I think when these characters came out, they were good, but overall, I feel like they were a little disrespected by Dokkan by just being Yellow Corn LRs. And while they are anniversary characters at the end of the day, they were not given the love, especially Vegeta. Unfortunately, Vegeta, it's like he was really weird wanting to be like a Slump 1 character, but they're like, actually, you're not Slump 1. It's very odd what they did with that Vegeta. So I tried to go in and make sure I fix my issues with their kits personally. I would say Goku had the easier way to figure out what I was going to do with him, so we'll just cover him first and we'll talk about Vegeta. You know, I think Vegeta as a villain spot would also be very, very cool to see. Now for Kaioken Goku, again, I was able to really keep the general idea of what he's able to do, but one of my issues with him was his intro animation, and same with the Vegeta. I think that was something that held these guys back just a little bit, is they looked really good with their intro animations, but there wasn't really many fights where you could actually get that off during the 7th anniversary because of the fact that it was all red zone, so there was no very difficult Goku and Vegeta fights anymore. You can go into legendary events, but at that point it was a huge power creep thing, and we never really got the fights for them, at least when they were relevant, to truly pop off. So I did change that, even though we do have the Supreme Battle Spectacle fights now with some Goku and Vegeta fights. I did want to make sure I went ahead and adjusted that. So again, I looked at some recent characters that have been coming out in the past few years, and I thought about, hey, what if they go ahead and actually make it so that it's also when just facing one enemy. So I did add that to the intro part of the passer right here in terms of an EZA concept for them. I think if that's one thing that they should change, it definitely should be that. Or maybe they could even do, if there's a Vegeta on the team for Goku or vice versa for Vegeta, I did add that to both of theirs, and we'll talk about Vegeta's kit more in detail later in terms of what I would like to expect from him. But a lot of intro nowadays usually have very unrestricted portions, or it's something that you could more so directly control with your team build rather than facing a certain enemy. And I looked up Scouter Vegeta, right? I found Scouter Vegeta as the character recently that had this kind of restriction. So I was like, hey, most fights are one enemy anyways, let them get their intro consistently. I did add defense to their intro animations, and then right here for Goku, I made it 100% attack and defense. That goes from key 3 70% to the 100%. I think that's really good. I doubled his attack and defense baseline to 200%. Now, this guy had key 7 for 7 turns from his entrance turn. I decided to go ahead and give him guard as well. So key 7, and he guards all attacks for 7 turns. And I think, that is fair. 7 turns is a really good thing regardless. I think it kind of makes sense that he will eventually phase out, quote unquote, but I think 7 turns is enough turns to where you're probably not going to be worried about that at all, even in some certain longer fights, right? Now, I did give him a change to his stats when he's doing a super and ultra super, essentially just buffing them. He's going to be more so of a damage dealer, so I didn't really care as much in terms of him being a consistent tank character. So I really, think of this guy as, oh, he's really pushing his limits and trying to do as much damage as possible in this specific circumstance, which is probably how they're going to design him as well. Even though I did give him the guard ability, and later on I do also give him another, kind of defensive mechanic as well. He's not going to be like your slot 1 character. He's going to be like your slot 2 character. He does want a super attack first to get all this buff, but when he's also at 24 key, he does get an additional guaranteed super attack. So I can see this guy doing quite a bit of damage if you're able to get him to full 24 key, which with 10 key start of turn, he does have shocking speed, say lineage, shattering the limit, over in a flash, lots of key links there. I do not think it'll be an issue for this character. Didn't really change the orb changing. Doesn't really matter to me personally. I mean, it could just help him get maybe a little bit of extra healing, but mostly the 24 key just as an extra bonus. I changed his high chance to crit to a great chance to crit. Then I gave him a high chance to dodge just because why not? I feel like the guard by itself, maybe, especially if we enter like a power shift in the 10th anniversary bosses, I think guard alone with the level of defense he's going to be having is going to be enough for normals in a good majority of situations. But I think super attacks, even though, like it would really hurt him, I think, quite a bit. So just high chance to dodge, why not? It's why not, just give him that too, just to make him really, really, I think, able to hold his own defensively. Not like a consistent, like, oh, he's tanking everything, but just so that he's not gonna be instantly obliterated every single time he gets super attacked. The only really big change I made to his super attack effect was that I did give him greatly raised attack for 1 turn on his 12 key super attack effect. So it used to be just raises attack and defense for 1 turn. Now it's a 50% attack raise for the turn, still a 30% defense raise. He has 100% on his 18 keys, so I don't really think that he needs that. Any extra defense than what's already there. I do not think they'll remove his 4% HP loss. Not really gonna be a thing I see them doing, so it's just because it's the soul of his kit. So this is what I think they would do similarly for Kalkin Goku. Again, a lot of extra offense, some extra stability for defense, but it's funny, guard and a high chance to dodge by itself is not what I would even consider like consistent defensively. But as a slot 2 character, I think this guy will be able to do pretty well. Now we move on to Gritty Vegeta. I think this guy especially needs like to be, I wouldn't say reworked entirely, but he needs to kind of be worked a little bit. Right, so I did have a lot of extra changes to him compared to what Goku's having. His super attack effects were some of the biggest issues. This guy had awful super attack effects, so I actually gave him on his 18 key greatly raised attack and defense for 3 turns, right? His 12 key, I gave him defense raise for 1 turn along with the attack raise, so now he actually has useful super attack effects, right, instead of the most bizarre, terrible ones. I gave him his intro also when facing one enemy or when facing a Goku enemy. Then key 5 on 100% attack and defense for the rest of the battle. That goes from key 3 and 60% attack. For some reason, he was shafted against compared to Goku for his intro. Goku got key 3 and 70% attack, and he got key 3 and 60%. For not really any specific reason, I guess maybe because there's more Goku enemies, but I think that was pretty stupid. So I gave him the upper hand here. I gave him extra key right there. Why not? Key 5 and then 200% attack and defense. I just gave him 5 key start of turn on top of that, so he's starting up at 10 key with his intro animation up. Why not? He gets an additional 120% attack and defense. That goes from attack plus 60% and defense plus 120%, so just even that out. Then furthermore, high chance to crit on super attack or when receiving an attack if key is 24. And I did add that restriction because he does get some key when receiving an attack later on in his kit. But what this originally was 60% attack and defense when performing a super, 60% defense if it's an ultra super. I just changed that to just on super attack or when keys 24 when receiving an attack to allow him to also be able to sit in slot 1. But let's say you do have him in slot 2, or maybe you might not even have him at 24 key in certain situations because his key is kind of weird. He has Viral Lineage, Shattering the Limit, and Transform for key links, which aren't good. Like this guy's link says very awful, so I try to overload him with key, and this just allows him to fit a slot 1 role, I think, very, very nicely. He guards all attacks, didn't really change that. I added defense to when his guard is activated, so now he gets key 3 and attack and defense 80% within the same turn when guard is activated, compared to when it was just previously attack through 30% key 3, right? Then finally, to really push him in as a slot 1 character, I gave him 30% damage reduction and then another 20% when he's positioned first in the turn. So all in all, I think I really evened out and pushed towards his defensive utilities rather than him wanting to be slot 1 but not being able to accomplish that goal, even though he had, like, when he came out, like, he had the guard and everything like that. It's just that he could not sit in that slot 1 spot really consistently at all. I think this will really help him with that 50% reduction plus guard, and then getting a lot of multiplicative stats when receiving an attack really helps. Then he will have the 3-turn defense raise here. That's gonna allow him to get an extra little boost there. And I think he'll be able to be pretty consistently good there. I guess the only thing you could say is that he doesn't have any built-in additionals, but I don't really think that's that big of a deal. He's meant to be more defensive than offensive anyways. I guess for a build for this guy would be like additional and dodge if they would be building him similar to this. And I do hope that they do allow this to happen. Even if he still gets some stats only when doing a super attack, he does need to get a lot of defense and ideally damage reduction for his slot 1 role rather than making him another slot 2, slot 3 character, because I think that kind of takes away from how I think Vegeta as a character, this guy is like Huge thing. This guy survives so many different attacks. The Kaioken Kamehameha, the Spirit Bomb. He lives Great Ape Kid Gohan, like just like falling on top of him with all his weight, like craziness. This Vegeta like suffers through. And on top of that, he has the Giant Ape, which could be activated when your HP is 40% or less. It's an active skill condition, so that's not really going to change, but you know, if you do get that, that could be pretty useful. Kaioken Goku also does have his own active skill, which would actually allow his buffs right here to reactivate at the start of turn. I don't think that would make him slot 1, but you know, he would get a lot of extra stats, I guess, just instantly in this situation where he's locked as slot 1. I don't know, probably not going to be a very common occurrence, but yeah, no, I think this is what I would like to see from these characters in terms of concepts. Let me know what you guys are thinking. I think they could really make these characters interesting and better than they were on release, because I feel like they were not given that love. And then maybe later on during the year, we can get some sort of Saiyan Saga celebration. I mean, if you take a look at Saiyan Saga characters that will be able to EZA later on this year, I think there are a couple of characters. Maybe again, we get a new Goku versus Vegeta dual Dokkan Fest, where it's just base Goku versus base Vegeta. We could get physical Raditz to EZA. We could get into Yamcha's EZA. Tech, yeah, Jirobe could EZA as well. I think this this Vegeta Nappa, they have damage reduction as a third attacker. They could guard. I don't really think there will be anything crazy anymore, but they might be like a decent-ish floater. We could get the EZA for or maybe even like a super EZA from these prime battles. Goku and Piccolo could EZA. There's a lot of different options here for like EZAs and things like that, which could be interesting, but I don't think any other character would be able to get an Extreme Z Awakening, because Gohan and Piccolo are the year after, right? But still, I think, you know, there's a couple of options to really do a nice little like Golden Week Saiyan Saga celebration. In my opinion, would be cool. On top of a part 2 Alar could be really interesting as well. So we'll see what happens. Now we'll go ahead and read some of the replies here, and let's see what you guys are saying about a potential EZ for these two during the anniversary countdown. Let's take a look at the quotes here. How do you feel if Gresh was right? Okay. A lot of people are very excited. Happy for Goku, sad for Vegeta. He's cooked due to his wonky passive. Again, they could rework it. Yeah, their animations are also very good, by the way. They have really nice animations. Being Gold Coin at large is massive disappointment. Give them the respect. Yeah, their part 1 counterparts. Is this person saying that like Saiyan Saga would be part 1? I don't know. I'm making a anniversary prediction video, by the way. That will be out either tomorrow or the day after, probably the day after. You guys will see what it is, but I guess just pointing that out here. Would Vegeta have a team? I mean, yeah, he does have a couple of these teams he would be able to fit on. I mean, you could throw him on Accelerated Battle, right, led by Glorio. That could work. You could throw him on, I don't think Planetary Destruction has a team right now. Actually, he fits in Broly, but he's not on Uncontrollable Power, right? Okay. I mean, Terrifying Conquerors, I think, is led by... Actually, no, Terrifying Conquerors does not have a new leader. Well, okay, that's kind of crazy. Space Traveling Warriors. Well, maybe he doesn't really have that many. I mean, Inhuman Deeds, he fits Slug's team. The Scouter Vegeta's team. Yeah, I guess Slug's team would be where you could run him. Unfortunately, this guy doesn't have Big Bad Bosses, dude. That's really annoying that they shafted him out of Big Bad Bosses. That's honestly very stupid, but there's places you could find to run this character, I'm assuming, so it should be okay. They didn't really talk about his Grade 8 form. I mean, I don't really care. The big thing that comes out of this Grade 8 form is being able to cancel a super attack. That's really it. So as long as Uno's usable, I'll feel something if they're not the easiest of the countdown. They have to be top 5. No, depends on their kits. Yeah, just the general same idea. Someone else made a concept for them. Let me just scan through this. Okay, I do not think they would give a 100% attack and defense race for 3 turns for Goku. I mean, sure. I don't know. I feel like my concept for him is low-key just like a better card, but I also didn't really hold back on him. Okay. It seems like people like are fine with it. I think that we had S tier Vegeta and physical Boo Tanks EZA during the anniversary countdown, and then later on we got Boo Saga. There are a lot of Saiyan Saga EZA, so I do not think they would feel scared with EZing these guys, as long as they don't do what they did to S tier Vegeta to these characters and they age well into Golden Week. Then they could fit that Golden Week kind of team, which would be pretty cool in my opinion. So I'm ending it here. Let me know what you guys think, if you guys would like to see these guys for the countdown. Thanks y'all for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.